Welcome back everybody. Today we're gonna play Sage on Pearl. Today is day 129 of playing every agent on every map. Today's agent Sage is categorized as a sentinel, and I don't really think that really applies to her. I know she has a lot of stopping util and her wall can be used pretty well to stop the enemies, but in my opinion Sage is more of like a mix between a duelist and a sentinel, because again her wall allows her to get into really good off angles, and also her slows allow her to stop a push. So if you are playing a sentinel and you want to do like a sentinel role of having map information and all of that, Sage is not the pick for you. But if you want to play a sentinel in the way of getting kills, trying to slow the enemies when they're coming in, playing a Sage is a pretty good idea. Starting off with A-side defense. In the beginning of the round, you can get yourself lined up with this wall right here. Just walk into the wall and then aim at around this area right here, at the height of the window and right next to this wall. Make sure you aim a little higher than the window and then you throw your slow orb. This will make it so the enemies that are trying to come into a main pretty fast are going to get slowed, and it will allow you to either fight those enemies or take this ult orb right here pretty safely and then go back. Taking this ult orb is a pretty strong thing because Sage's ult is one of the best ones in the game, having literally the ability to revive somebody. Other than that, if they are still pushing, you can use a second slow orb, decide to fight them, or just use that slow orb to get away. And then go back here, maybe use a wall like this, stop them from coming in. You can even stand on top of this wall, peek out, go back a little, or even wait for them to go close to the wall and start shooting it, and then peek out. Like that, you can kind of stop the enemies from coming into a main and be a really strong nuisance against them. Other than that, also with this wall, you can then drop and decide to reposition. If they break this part of the wall, you can even hide in this corner, but it is kind of a risky thing to do. Other than that, you can also obviously place a wall right here, but if you place this wall that deep below, it is possible for the enemies to jump on top of it from up here, just like that, and your wall won't really bring anything. So if you wall it deep enough so the enemies can't really jump on it. A wall like this one will, for example, they have no chance of jumping up. They can jump around this corner right here and get on top of the wall, but that is kind of hard. As you can see, you need almost perfect movement, and most of the enemies are not going to have. Other than that, what you can also do with a Sage wall is to place it back here in the dugout area, to peek over main like this, and even get jump spot information on the people on backside, and in general just fight the people that are trying to go for a plant. Especially when you're walling up and somebody's going for a plant, you have an easy time killing them. Other than that, you can also use a Grim wall, kind of, by getting yourself on top of this wall, by jumping up here, and then use a wall like this. And then you can even crouch and go all the way in front here and have a pretty good off angle on the enemies. This is a not so safe spot, but it is a pretty strong one because most of the times the enemies are not going to expect it. And after you have used that spot, you can go also a little further back, hold the enemies from up here, even hide here and then peek out, and we'll get a lot of value out of that. Or even play under it, use your wall as a bait, and then peek out as soon as they're starting to shoot your wall, because they might think you're hiding here. You can peek out and get a free kill on them. Other than that, you can also play on backside. Just make sure you don't wall off your team as well. This wall here is not the greatest one, because again, you're walling off your team from coming out of CT, and you're also kind of giving the enemies the option to get stopped right here, and it makes it pretty hard for your team. But it is a wall you can use. Other than that, also using a wall right here on this wall is pretty good, because you can peek over the smoke that is usually placed in art, and the enemies are not really gonna go expect it, and you can even hide all the way over here without the enemies being able to see you. Other than that, another really good defensive wall, but also a wall attackers can use, is this wall right here. If you know nobody is coming into the art area and you are coming from mid, for example, you can use this wall to get up here, fight the enemies, even jump down, because this wall allows you to go back up again, because when you jump down, the enemies are not going to expect you up here, and you can just walk up again and jump up and have the same off angle you had before, but the enemies are not going to expect you. Other than that, just slowing the entrance is a pretty good thing. As soon as they're trying to come in, save your slows. Don't use both of them right away. Just use one slow, wait for that one to dissipate, maybe even wait for some other utils. So if the enemies have smokes they are going to replace, or they're using flashes, use your second slow and wait for the enemies to come in again, and then you can hold them in off angles, use some damaging util, for example a raise nade or maybe some Techo mollies, to stop them from coming in completely. Other than that, you can also use your slow orbs to stop the enemies from planting. Not really to stop them from planting, but to make it really hard for them to get away. And if you have any damaging util, even a Sova ult or something will work. The enemies that are trying to go for a plant will be slowed, and if they get Sova ulted at the same time, it is a guaranteed kill for your team. Switching over towards art now. I've shown you already this wall for A. On art, you can also use a wall right here. Again, you have to kind of be careful about not placing it right here, because then the enemies can jump on top of the wall. So place it a little further behind. You can even leave a gap on the other side, like this. You can then peek from on top, or even hold this spot right here. The enemies are gonna maybe walk into that. Even maybe give yourself some more space on this side to peek around and kill the enemies. Most of the times they're not really gonna expect it. And you can also decide to hide on this part of the wall and make it really hard for the enemies to get in. Other than that, you can also jump on top of these boxes, which is a pretty strong off angle. Just drop down after you shot the enemies and get out. And also using slow orbs right here is a pretty good thing to stop the enemies from coming in. Also, if you have a phantom and they're smoking off this and you have a slow orb right there, just start spraying when you hear the steps. You can hear steps in a slow orb pretty well. Same thing also for double doors. Either slowing or walling is not too bad of an idea. A wall you can use to great effect if it is a wall like this. Because this wall is a wall they have to break multiple parts from to get in. What they can do, however, is to jump on top of the wall right here and then decide to go for a fight. But you can pretty easily hold this angle right here, wait for them to drop on top and try to sneak over it and get a free kill on them. Other than that, you can also decide to use a wall right here and have a great off angle on the people that are coming through mid. Most of the times they're not really going to expect it because they're just going to think, yeah, it's walled off. They just don't want to go through here. They're going to spray. You can peek out and do a lot of damage to the enemies. Other than that, we are now switching towards B. And on B, there's two walls. One pretty common one. It is this one right here. This one will stop the enemies from coming in. You can firstly use this wall, and then when the enemies are using some more util and you have a smoke right here, you can use slow orbs to stop the enemies from coming in. Your slow orbs are an insanely strong stopping tool, and it is probably one of the best ways to stop a push. So just using one to stop a push and then using the second one when they're trying to re-hit is a pretty strong idea. So you kind of have a really good way to stop the enemies. Other than that, you can also use a wall like this one. And you have to kind of get the right one. Make sure you don't break it. And then you can peek them from all the way up here, from this off angle, which is an insanely strong off angle, especially if you have an op or something like that. The enemies are not really gonna expect it. You can shoot, go back, and maybe even peek out again. You can even see the people that are hiding behind these boxes pretty well. And it is a really strong wall you can do. Other than that, there's also the other option for a wall that is on this side. Is where you jump, get up like this. You can even place that wall a little better. I'm not really playing Sage that often recently, but you can place this wall a little better so you can walk out even further, get a kill from up here, which is a pretty strong off angle again, and the enemies are not really gonna expect it. And then you can either go back, even drop down into this corner and have a really strong spot where the enemies are not gonna expect you, and when your wall breaks, you can maybe even get another kill. Other than that, again, slow orbing here, or maybe even walling back off back halls is pretty good, because then you know you can kind of hide in this area unless they like break the wall. Even maybe hide on top of the wall, peek out at some later time to make it impossible for the enemies to take the full site, because back halls is a really important part of site and one that is usually pretty easy to take. But if it is walled off, the enemies are going to use a lot of ammo, and it will also make it pretty hard for them to take this space right here. And then you can just hold in back halls. Even hold in like behind the wall, wait for the wall to break and then instantly shoot. It is a pretty strong thing to do. For your res and your heal, just use them on whoever is closest to you. If you see somebody that is low, don't completely leave your position. Just tell them to peek you so you can heal them, especially if you're holding an area. Don't just fully run out with your heal as soon as you see your teammate on A is low and you yourself are holding B by yourself. Oh, my teammate is low, I gotta run over now to heal him. That is not gonna bring your team anything, because you're losing your team the space here on B, and it can lose you some rounds. So if somebody is low and they want to heal, tell them to come to you and you can heal them. You can also obviously walk, if you don't have a space to hold, walk over to them and heal them real quick. But if you have a space to hold and that you're holding that map information, it is pretty important that you stay there, and your teammate should come to you. Switching over towards attack now. And on attack, on A, I actually have a wall that is pretty good, but you are not going to be the person that uses that wall. The wall is all the way on top here. Get yourself really close to here. As soon as you can see this part of the wall, you can then move your wall by pressing right click and make sure it moves all the way out, and then you can place it. This wall right here is made for your Omen or your Chet or maybe even your Race to get on top of these boxes and then get walled up and then peek the people that are playing in the dugout area back here on site. It is a really strong wall, especially if somebody of the enemy team likes to play an op. You can see pretty well into the backside area and get information like that as well. And as soon as somebody peeks out there, you're just gonna get a free kill. Other than that, you yourself are not gonna be able to get up here. Even if you like try to jump from over here, there's not going to be enough space, and this wall is one you can use with a teammate, especially if you have an Omen that can TP up there. Other than that, just walking down main is a pretty good thing. You can also use a slow towards this side right here to stop the enemies from pushing in. You can see it will land close here in main and will slow anyone. Most of the times they're already going to be up, but if you use some damaging util here close or a flash, it makes it almost impossible for them to get out, and like that you have a easy time taking a main. Other than that, if they smoke a main, you can also use a wall behind the smoke and peek the people that are playing on site, also on this area here as well. And in general, this is a pretty good wall to use to fight the enemies that are on site if you're smoked off. Other than that, I just recommend you slow either here, here, or towards art, and then you can use a wall either towards art. Make sure it is either this wall deep or a wall in the smoke at around this level, so the enemies can't really jump on top of the wall. Other than that, a wall you can also use that is pretty good is this wall right here, because this allows you to peek into the spawn area, but then you need to have art control. Art control is really important if you want to do this wall, because this wall will block off the enemies from coming into towards backside, and it also allows you to peek the enemies that are coming out of spawn or even that are playing in dugout, which is a pretty strong thing to clear out, especially with a wall from a really unexpected angle like this. The enemies are not really going to expect it, and you're going to have a free time killing them. Other than that, again, using slows here in spawn and using slows here in the dugout area is a pretty good idea to stop the enemies from pushing out while you're going for a plant. And as a Sage, going for a plant is a pretty good thing, because you have to go to the site either way to wall something off. So going for a plant then, because you're already on the site and you have walled the area off, so you know I should be safe from that area, is pretty good for also the reason that you are gonna get your ult pretty fast like that. Other than that, going towards mid, you can use something you can use on a lot of agent, this window right here, to use a slow on the people that are trying to take the art space from the enemies, and then your team can go through mid and kind of stop the enemies from taking this space right here. If there is an enemy in here, you will either be able to hear them, or you can use some damaging util to get them away, maybe even a flash around this corner to stop them from peeking you. Other than that, same thing also on double doors, stop them from pushing out. If you want to take this area, I don't recommend slowing it, but if you are not going to take this area either way, this slow is a pretty good one. And again, I showed you that already on defense. You can use this wall right here to get on top of these boxes, or you can use another wall right here in the art area to stop the enemies from coming in and make it safer for your team to take this space. If you're using this wall, also some other teammates can get up here, and especially strong with that wall is having a Chet that has her ult and then goes all the way up here with this wall, and then updrafts from up here will be up about around this high, which is a pretty high spot for a Chet to be in, and the enemies are going to have a hard time killing her, and she will also be able to clear out the dugout area pretty well without the enemies really realizing. Now switching over towards double doors. On double doors you can use slows towards here or even towards here. They do around the same, but you have to kind of keep in mind that if you want to take this area and you slow yourself, you make it pretty hard for your team to take this area. Other than that, also slowing the lower part here from B connector is pretty good. You can also use a slow a little later, use it right here, and even wall off this area right here as well. You can then decide to go B. When you are going B, you can also use a wall like this, which allows you to peek in towards the heaven area. You can't really jump up, sadly, but still this peek is insanely strong. If you know nobody is up here, you can use this peek pretty well, and it is a perfect headshot angle on anyone that is coming in. So they're gonna walk around here, see your head right there, and they're probably already gonna be dead. You can obviously also wall off the upper area right here in heaven, but I don't really think that wall is the greatest one. What you can do when you, especially when you have a lurk and you get the B side for free and then you can go into heaven, is to use a wall like this one to cut the people off that are coming from heaven, and also to have a really unexpected off angle on the people that are coming from link. From up here you can see the link area. You can also use that, by the way, on defense. It is a really strong wall. you can cut off heaven like that, and also get the area right here in connector, and make it pretty easy for you to kill those people. And even if they smoke the heaven area, you can still stay on top here, fight the people, but it is going to be pretty hard for you to get away. Just know, if you are using this wall, I recommend you go over here and hold the people from coming in main right there. And even if there is a smoke in main, you can sometimes even see people above the smoke and get a free kill on them. This wall is even stronger on attack because, again, you cut off heaven area and you cut off a area of the link. Now switching over towards B. On B, you can basically use your slows towards backside, towards under, or also towards link. I actually recommend the link one right here because it also includes the person that is playing on pillar, and it will make it pretty hard for them to get away, and then you can just spam through the pillar area or use some util that does damage to them to like get those people away and get a free kill. The backside slow is also a pretty good one because it will make it pretty hard for the enemies to peek out of backside, and you have an easy time killing them. And other than that, you can use this wall right here to get to site and get a good plant in, but it isn't the greatest one. Or also a wall I see pretty often used is this one right here to just get a plant in and then get out. I don't really like that wall. It is decent on eco rounds. It also allows you to get the plant down pretty consistently. But if the enemies catch on to that, they're going to spray this wall and it's going to not make it pretty easy for you to plant. And they are going to have an easier time holding you from B. Other than that, using your wall towards CT can be used pretty well. Like this. Again, it's the same wall I showed you from Link. You can also play on top of this wall right here. You just need to make sure that you're all the way in the corner. And it is kind of a risky spot to be in. And if you have like the perfect timing, you can even jump up with some speed. It is not possible on this side because you don't have that speed. Other than that, there's not really much you can do. Again, slowing heaven, slowing the avenues of entry when the enemies are trying to entry is pretty strong. Or using your slows to stop the enemies from coming in. Healing your teammates, always pretty good. You shouldn't be the first one in. I know you're a Sage, and I know you want to be a battle Sage and play like Grim, but still healing your teammates and playing a little more passive can be pretty good, and can also net you quite a lot of kills. Bonus segment! And to end the video off, I have something for your TikTok players, or like the players that want to do like some TikTok plays on a Sage. You probably have already seen that play. If you plant right here in this corner and then go all the way around back through mid and into the mid link area right here, you are able to wall up here and see the spike, and you are going to be able to shoot the person that is trying to go for a defuse in all of the spots they can go for a defuse in, and they're most of the times not really going to expect you here. If you are going for this play, I do recommend you're playing a Phantom. That makes it even harder for them to find out where you are. So they might think, yeah, you're spawned, but they're never going to see this angle right here. By the way, the angle I'm talking about is this. How would they see that? Especially if you don't have any tracers. So you can go for that play. I am telling you, it will tilt your enemies, but it is kind of a risky play to go for, because playing for this spot from long is okay. But also getting the plant down here without using a wall towards CT is kind of hard. So you can go for that maybe once or twice in a game. And it will tilt your enemies really hard. If I had to give Sage a rating from S to F, I'd actually give her the A tier. I hate Sage as a Sentinel. That is not because I don't think she is fun to play or stuff like that. But she just does not really fulfill the Sentinel role. But using her in a different way, and not really as a Sentinel to hold map control and stuff like that, and actually get into off angles, stopping the enemy pushes, is insanely fun with her, and she is really fun to play that way. You are losing the information part if you decide to not play another Sentinel, and on a map like Pearl, where you have more or less 4 avenues of entry for the enemies, that is pretty important, but it also is really good that Sage can stop a push with just one slow orb, and also with her wall, and also with the second slow orb she has. So she has a lot of stopping power, which makes it pretty hard for the enemies to go into the site, and that makes her a pretty good pick on this map either way. That would be it from me. If you want to see any other agents on any other maps, write them down in the comments, and if you want to see anything else fun related, write it down there as well. And as always, don't forget to like and sub, and come say hi to me on Twitch, where I stream almost daily. Have a great rest of your day, and see you guys very soon. Bye!